Even you guys. All right. All right, lots of sock fuzz today. All right, so let's see, what do we want to start with? So let's start with the small joints. When it gets cold, everything kind of contracts, especially our bodies. So we'll start with getting some movement in small joints, and we're going to start with the feet. So ground up here. So if you can, bring your legs out straight. We'll start with pulling the toes back towards the chest, extending the heels out from the legs. And then we want to have a little nice soft little bend in the knees. Just nice and gentle in the back, side of the legs. And then when you're ready, we're going to release that and do circles around with the ankles. So we'll start with, you do one at a time. They can go both together, or you can do opposites. And you want to go circles in both directions. And as my yoga teachers like to say, motion is volition. Especially that we're in boot weather, the feet kind of get neglected a bit. Excellent. All right, release that. And then let's do our supinate and pronate, which is sole of the foot in towards the center, and then the pinky toe side towards the shoulder. So back and forth like my hand here. And then again, one at a time. They can go together or they can do opposites. Excellent. All right, release that, and then let's do the toes. We haven't done that in a while. So we're going to open the toes away from each other and then close them back up. Open and close. Excellent. Release that, and then we'll finish up with windshield wipers. So 2 options, or you can do both. That's fine. Side to side, just like the regular ones, or another option, bring the feet a little bit wider apart, go in together, out together. And then what I want you to kind of notice here is that feet are moving down there, but the action is coming from that hip joint. Excellent. And release and shake it out. All right, option to sit cross-legged if that's comfortable, or keep the legs out straight if you prefer. And then let's move up to the wrists. So arms straight out, we're going to tuck the thumb, wrap the fingers, and make circles with the wrists. And then getting a little bit bigger into the elbows and the shoulders. And again, you do one at a time. They can go the same direction or opposite. Excellent. And then when you're ready, release that. We're going to bring the palms together, interlace the fingers, and make figure eights. Or if you're a math nerd, little infinity symbol. Excellent. We're going to pause for a moment, pull the hands apart, switch which fingers on top for the awkward side. Do a few more. Excellent. Release and shake it out. All right, let's do just a little bit more because I don't know if we're getting more snow or not, but if we have to shovel or use the snowblower. All right, so extend that one arm out. We're going to gently pull the fingers back towards the shoulder. And then thumb down towards the floor. And then the next one, fingers point down towards the floor. We're going to take the other hand and push into the back of the hand, while the back of the hand pushes into the other hand. It's a lot of words for what we're doing. One of those probably feels better than the other. So whichever one feels better, do that one more often. So this one opens up the top if you have like carpal tunnel syndrome. All right, shake that one out. We'll do the other side. Extend that arm back, fingers towards the shoulder. Excellent. And then thumb down towards the floor. Excellent. And then fingers point down towards the floor. We're going to push the back of the hand to the other hand. Excellent. Release and shake it out. All right. Neck and shoulders. And then we'll take a breathing break. All right. So starting with the neck. So a lot of yoga teachers and other groups of professional body movers like to do neck rolls where you roll your head all the way around, and you guys know that that's not my thing. The head is not designed, or the neck is not designed to move the head in that way, so that's why we do the couple that we're gonna do. So sitting up nice and tall, you're gonna take an inhale. On the exhale, drop the chin down towards the chest. On the inhale, looking up just as far as is comfortable. Exhale, bring it all the way back down. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, all the way back down. Nice, let's do one more. Inhale, all the way up. And exhale, all the way back down. Nice, inhale back to neutral. And then we're gonna do a lateral here. So we're gonna exhale ear to shoulder. Inhale, center. Exhale, other side, ear to shoulder. Inhale, center. Exhale, back to the first side. Inhale, center. Exhale, second side. Nice. Inhale, center one more time each side. Exhale to the first side. Inhale, center. Exhale to the second side. Nice. Inhale, center. All right, last one with the neck. We're going to do, it's a twist basically. So again, finding that nice tall posture. Inhale. On the exhale, chin comes towards the shoulder. It may not make it all the way there. That's okay. Inhale back to center, but we want to keep our range of motion going. Exhale to the second side. Inhale, center. Exhale back to the first side. Inhale, center. Exhale, second side. Nice. Inhale, center, one more time each side. Exhale to the first side. Inhale, center. Exhale to the second side. Nice. Inhale back to center. Next, we're going to do our shoulders. Inhale, forward and up. Exhale, down and back. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale, back down. Nice. All right, let's reverse direction. Inhale, back and up. Exhale, down and forward. Excellent. All right. A couple more, either direction or straight up and down. So moving nice and slow, move with the breath. Excellent. All right. So we're going to do alternate nostril breath. We haven't done it in a while. You guys probably remember it, but we're going to use the thumb to close the right nostril and the ring finger to close the left nostril. And we're going to do 3 rounds, but let's take 2 regular breaths first. Inhale through the nose, exhale out through the mouth. Inhale and exhale. Nice. All right, close off the right nostril. We're going to inhale left. Close off the left side, exhale right. Inhale right. Close off the right side, exhale left. Inhale left. Close off the left side, exhale right. Inhale right. Close off the right, exhale left. Nice, one more round. Inhale left. Close off the left side, exhale right. Inhale right. Close off the right side, exhale left. Nice. You can release your hand. Sorry if you need a tissue now. Take 2 regular breaths. Inhale through the nose, exhale however you like. Excellent. All right, so let's do our 6 directions of the spine, and then we're going to come up to hands and knees. So starting with cat and cow seated. If you've been sitting cross-legged for a while and you want to switch it up, you can switch which foot is in front, or you can bring both legs straight out. Hands in front of the knees if they're crossed, hands under the thighs if the legs are out straight. We're going to start with an exhale, back to cat, tuck the chin and the tailbone, shoulder blades go back towards that back wall. On the inhale, round up, looking up. And then exhale back to cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Nice and slow, warming up the spine. Using the breath to maybe warm the body up a little bit more. It's a little chilly sitting on the floor. Excellent. All right, one more in each direction. Excellent. And then back to neutral. Okay, so that was our first 2 directions. It's a forward fold and a back bend. Second 2 are lateral left and right. Since we did get extra blocks today, if you want to, you can use your blocks with your lateral. I show you what it looks like, and then I usually don't do them with it, but if you're tall and you have short arms, it's nice. Or if you just want to add a little bit more stretch to that rib cage side. So one hand on the floor or the block, we're going to inhale the other arm up. And then if you want, you can come over the midline just as far as it's comfortable. Push that hand into the floor or the block. Exhale, bring it back. And then the other side. Inhale. And again, going just as far as it's comfortable. We're going to do this a bunch of times, so maybe you're going to warm up a little bit deeper, and maybe you're not. Do it without. So the hand pushing into the floor or the block is going to keep that opposite knee from popping up. Exhale, the arm comes down. Inhale, other arm comes up. Excellent. All right, we're going to do one more time each side or finish off evenly. Excellent. And then back to neutral. Dust your hands off on the floor. All right. So that's 4 of the 6. The last 2 is the twist left and right. And again, if you want to switch the legs up, you're welcome to do that. We're just starting, so we're not overdoing this twist. And then the other thing is we want to keep it in the upper half to upper third of the spine. The lower down the spine we go, the less rotation it has. So we don't want to grind anything in too hard. All right, so here we go. So we're going to inhale nice and tall. On the exhale, turning to the first side. Inhale, center. Exhale, second side. Excellent. All right, one more time each side. And then back to center. All right, I've got one more last thing seated, and then we will come up to hands and knees. We're going to do windshield wipers with the knees. So if you want, if the legs were crossed, extend them out, pound them into the mat, wake them up a little bit, and then we'll do the windshield wipers. So if you're seated up on something, you might want to come down onto the mat. Feet are out decently far, knees are bent, and we're just going to go side to side. Waking up the hips a little bit because we're going to be doing some glute work. We want the hips nice and mobile. Option also to do one at a time. Or both together. Excellent. All right. So if you have a towel or blanket you want to bring out to put your knees on, you're welcome to start with that. And then come up to hands and knees. Grab your blocks so they're up top here, because we might just throw a lunge in just for fun. All right, so let's start with our cat and cow here. So starting with our neutral table, we're going to exhale, bring the shoulder blades up towards the ceiling, tuck the chin and the tailbone. And then on the inhale, we're going to reverse the curve without dumping the belly towards the floor, looking towards the horizon. Exhale back to cat. Inhale, cow. Excellent. All right, one or two in each direction. And then we'll come back to neutral. So let's do, we haven't done a lateral in this position in a little bit, so let's do that. So we're gonna take one hand, cross over the other, and then we're gonna turn and look at that back foot. So that should be a nice stretch on the opposite side. If you wanna lean into it a little bit more, you could do that. Don't go too far. Bring that hand back, and then we're gonna do the other side. Turning and looking at that back foot. And if you want, you can lean into it a little bit and then back to neutral. Hands come back. Let's do that 2 more times on each side. All right, turning and looking. Back to center. Other side, cross over, turn and look. Back to center. And then one last time each side, turn and look. Back to center. And then last one. Cross over, turn and look, and back to center. All right, so next we're gonna do, I don't remember if we did it last week or must have done it last week. Camel prep. All right, we're gonna do it today. Doesn't matter when we did it last. If you weren't here, you didn't know anyway. All right, so basically our camel is a back bend. So if you get a little dizzy, I don't actually want to manifest that, but if you get a little dizzy, come into a child's pose. We're not going to worry about that. We're just going to go nice and slow. We're not going to do the full camel. We're just building up to it. So we're going to bring the blocks either side of the knees. And then we're going to start with this though. So coming up to a high kneel and then coming back down to sit on the heels. If that doesn't work for hip or knee stuff, you can do just a little bit back and forth. We're working on building up this strength in the knees so we can pull ourselves back up. All right, do one more. Excellent. All right, now the fun part comes. So with the camel, what we're doing is the hips are going to come forward and we're kind of coming into a back bend. So that's what we're going to start with, having the blocks handy in case it gets a little wobbly. You can bring your hands to your hips. And what we're going to do is pelvis is going to come forward and we're just going to look up slightly, not all the way up, and then back to neutral. So we'll do that a couple times. Getting the feeling of that first. We're probably used to sitting a lot, so our body's not maybe happy with this position. All right, so last one of those. Excellent. And now we're going to add the arms. So we're just going to do one arm at a time. And it looks like this. So we're just going to bring the arm up. So we're doing a little bit of that back bend, and then we'll do the other arm. And the blocks here, you can hold on to the block, or you can hold on to the hip. So by doing this slowly, instead of trying to go directly into a camel pose, we're showing the body that these are safe movements. So if we want to try a little bit deeper, we can. All right, let's see. We'll do one more each arm. Excellent. All right, so if you want to be done with this, you can come into your child's pose. Or if you want to go a little deeper, we're going to try this. So bring the blocks back by the ankles. And we're not going to go full camel. We're just going to try one side at a time. So you can bring one hand to the hip. The other arm can come up and then grab that block. If you're really open, maybe you can reach the heel. If not, that's okay. Stay stable. Bring that arm back, and then we'll try the other arm. Reach down for the block. Nice. And then bring it back up. Let's do one more time each side. And then the second arm. Nice. And then back to center. And now we're going to come into our child's pose. So we'll stay here for a couple breaths. So option, if you'd like, bring the big toes together, knees out wide, sitting back towards the heels. Since we have the blocks, you can bring the forehead down on the block. Or if you're reaching all the way to the floor, that's fine. Or stack the fists and rest the forehead on the hands. And see if you can bring the breath into the back body, the back ribs, see if they're moving at all. Excellent. When you're ready to come out, we're going to come back up to table. And we're going to do donkey kicks. Okay, I was thinking about tiger tail, but that's more of a quad thing than a glute thing. So we'll do donkey kicks. All right, so fingers are nice and wide, good support. And we're going to bring one knee up so that that thigh is parallel to the floor. And then the knee is bent, heel up. And then options with this. So you can just stay here. If that's enough today, that's totally fine. Otherwise, lifting the knee up slightly. And then bring it back to neutral. So up and neutral. A couple of times. And then we'll bring that side back down. Take a breath in the middle. And then let's go to the other side, bend the knee. And then stay here, or if you want to, lift that knee up, or maybe lift the heel up. Excellent. All right. Release that back down. And then we're going to do gate pose. So 2 levels of that. We'll start with the low gate pose. So we're going to start with extending one foot out to the side. That same hand, we're going to inhale, bring that up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, bring back down. And then again, inhale. And exhale. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Excellent. Tuck that knee in. We're going to send the other foot out. That same hand is going to go up towards the ceiling. Inhale. And exhale, bring it back down. Again, inhale. And exhale. Nice. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Beautiful. All right, so let's do our high gate pose. So coming up to a high kneel. And since we have the blocks, if you like to have a block in front for changing legs, you can do that. If you don't need it, no worries. All right, so I'm going to start with my left leg out to the side. You can do either side, just do both sides evenly. So the leg that's out, that hand is going to go on the hip or down the leg. We're going to inhale this other arm up to vertical, and then exhale, bring that hand towards the foot. Inhale, vertical. Exhale, over. Inhale, up, and one more. Exhale, over. Inhale, vertical, and then exhale, release. So you can use the block to switch legs or the floor, or if you don't need it, it's fine. All right, hand on the hip or down that leg. I'm going to inhale, the arm up. Exhale, hand towards the foot side. Inhale, vertical. Exhale, over. Inhale, up, and then one more time. Exhale, over. Inhale, up, and then exhale and release. And now we're going to do lunge. So we'll bring that knee back, blocks in front. So two options to get there. You can bring both blocks over towards the left and then bring that right leg out and around and then center the foot, or that foot might just come up through the center. Either way. And then another tip here. So for the most stable, for when you're using the tall blocks, 3 fingers in front and the thumb and the pinky on the side. The blocks are less likely to tip. If you don't need the blocks, that's totally fine. Other options, flat side, medium side, tall side. All right, whichever one you like. So first thing we're gonna do is send the pelvis down towards the floor. So this knee is gonna come nice and forward. It's some contraction in there. Get that fluid moving. Nice, coming back up to neutral. And then we've got some options here. So you can stay here and be comfortable, or you can bring both hands onto that knee. Next option, stay here or hands up towards the ceiling. And then last option, we're gonna bring that pelvis back down towards the floor. Excellent. All right, coming back up to neutral, hands to the knee, hands to the block. And we're gonna switch legs. And after we do this side, we're gonna come back and do a revolved lunge. All right. So leg straight through the middle, or if you need to bring the leg out and around and then center it, or it can come through the middle. Here we go. So we're gonna start with pelvis coming down toward. Excellent, back to neutral. Option to stay here or coming hands up onto the knee. Next option, stay here or hands up towards the ceiling. And then the last option, stay here or bring that pelvis back down towards the floor. Nice, all right, back to neutral. Hands down, hands to the block. Let's just keep this foot in front and then we'll do our revolved and then we'll switch to the other side. So at this point, you may not need the block and that's fine, or if you still like it, too, or you can switch which height it's at. So I'm gonna go all the way down to the floor with this other hand. You can still use this other block if you like. So we're gonna take the hand with the foot in front and we're gonna inhale, bring it up towards the ceiling. Take a breath or so here. You can adjust where your arms are. You can also do a fist on the floor if your wrist is bothering you. Excellent. One more breath. And then that arm comes down. And then we're going to switch legs. So bring this knee back. And then we'll send the other foot forward. Whichever block height you like for the other hand. And then we're going to inhale, bring this other arm up. And take a couple breaths here. Excellent. When you're ready, we're going to bring that arm back down. And then from here, practicing how to get up off the floor. I know we're not seated all the way down. I like to practice different ways to get up. From here, if you have a knee bent and you want to come up, you can use the blocks or the knee, hands on the knee. We're going to curl the toes under, pushing up, and then step the feet together. Or if you need to go down and then come up, that's fine too. Excellent. All right, so we're going to move the blanket out of the way, if you have one. Right there. And then let's do, we're going to do the chair. So let's grab our chair. All four feet of the floor on the mat. And they're probably dirty, so we'll wipe them off in a bit. I'm going to go this way, so I think that everybody can see. Do it like this. All right. So we're talking about the muscles, the gluteus medius, which is up higher, and then the maximus, which is across the side. So those muscles, if we don't use them, they kind of, they get weak, and then we're in trouble. Can't get up and down off a chair. So let's start with, so this is kind of like not really yoga per se, but it's something that I would encourage you to do on your own, i.e. homework, if you want. Obviously you don't have to, but if you guys remember Don, of course, he was, every week he'd be like, this is what I do at home. So, you know, if we want to get to 102, then we can do some extra stuff outside of yoga class. But we're going to do slightly different here. So we're going to do 3 directions with each leg. So the first one is, so we kind of want to be a foot or 2 back from the chair. Sorry, I just bored here. All right, so one foot is going to stay solid on the floor, and then the other leg is going to be moving. So we're basically, first one is we're lifting the leg straight back behind us. So I'll do this version, straight back behind us. All right, so I'm going to say at home, you can do 10, and then so we're stopping at the same line as the other leg. We're not swinging it because that's not activating the muscle. So I'm going to lift it up nice and slow. If you have those exercise bands, the little stretchy things, you can attach the legs and then making it more of a resistance. Okay, that's one side. Other side is out to the side. And again, we're not swinging, we're just going nice and slow. So we're working on the muscles kind of around the horn, so to speak. So we got straight back and straight out. And then now we're going at 45 degrees from the straight out. So like that. And this is the one, don't overdo it today because you're going to feel it tomorrow. But this is the one that we really want to work into our weekly exercises, so to speak. Okay, feels great. Shake out that straight leg because it's doing work too. All right, so we're gonna switch sides. We'll go with straight back first. Okay, so when you learn something new, and this may not be new, adding too many things on at once is gonna make it confusing, but if you want to add the breath on, The inhale is as the leg goes out, exhale as the leg comes back in. Excellent. All right, straight out to the side. Nice and slow. Excellent. And then the last one is the angle, 45 degrees in between those two. If you don't want to do all three, just do this one. But if we're working on muscles around that hip joint and into the glutes, I would do all three. Excellent. Okay, release that, shake them out. And since we have the chair, let's go ahead and do a little chair business. All right, another thing that happens when we get old is it gets hard to get in and out of a chair, right? We're not there yet, but eventually. Well, all right, wishful thinking, right? The other thing that's important, and this may or may not apply to any of you, but maybe somebody at home, as we get older, there's a higher chance for osteopenia and osteoporosis. One of the things, especially if you get it in your spine, is not to just plop down in a chair, because if those bones are weak in the spine, you could actually fracture them. So being able to control yourself coming in and out of the chair has a lot of benefits. So let's do that a couple times. And again, this is great for homework to work on outside of class. It's going to be harder to get up and out of a soft sofa than a hard chair. So if you're practicing, use the hard chair. All right. It's more work if the feet are closer together. So if you're struggling a little bit, maybe bring the feet out a little bit wider. And then if you want to make it harder today, you can not actually sit all the way down. All right, so here we go. So you can do hands on the hips. We'll do that for a couple, just coming down, maybe not quite, maybe just like, I don't want to say kiss the chair, but just touch it gently and then come back up. If you want to make this more difficult, because that's super easy, you can bring the arms up like we do in our chair pose. Or if that's not great for on the shoulders, cactus arms. All right, let's do 5 more, whichever kind you like. All right, I forgot to count. This is my last one.
One more.
One more. All right.
One more.
Nice. All right, check it out. And then we're going to do 2 more chair things. You can use your chair or skip it. I'm going to do it without the chair because I'm going to go a little lower in my chair than this chair is. But if you're more comfortable in the chair, it's totally fine. So since we have our blocks, we're going to grab a block. And we're going to do this with bridge pose 2. So pay attention where in the body that you're noticing this. All right, so we're going to put the block in between the thighs, above the knees. It can go up as high as you want, or in just a comfortable spot, right? So if it feels a little wobbly, maybe take the feet out a little bit, or if you, that's not going to work.
Use the block.
I don't think so. Okay. Don't use the block if that feels too wobbly. All right. So let's do 3. And you can do anything you like with the arms. I'm going to do cactus arms. All right. So here we go. So we're going to inhale, bend the knees, arms come up. And then we're going to exhale and fold forward. Inhale, come back up, maybe not as high. And then exhale, fold forward. And one last time, maybe as low as you can still get back up. Excellent. All right, and then release. Take the block out, and then we're going to do our revolved chair. Okay, so again, you can actually do this in a chair if that's more comfortable. That's totally fine. Looks like that. All right, otherwise, here we go. So we're gonna bring the hands together in front of the heart. We're gonna bend the knees. We're gonna take one elbow and bring it to the opposite knee. If you need to, you can kind of grab it and hook it on there. And then the nose should be level with the thumbs. All right, just to the point where you're getting like, are we done yet? Take one more breath. And then fold forward. We're going to come up all the way. And then hands together. Bend the knees. Opposite side. If you need to, hook the elbow on the knee. Gazes at the thumbs. And then when you feel like you're like really done, take one more breath. Fold forward. And then we're going to come all the way up. Phew. Okay. Since we're working on those glutes, let's do, we're actually going to run out of time, but let's come down to the floor and we're going to do some stuff down there. Grab a block for bridge pose. I'm going to flip my mat sideways. All right, so let's do this. Oh, you guys sat down already. Oh. Come back up. Sorry, you got to do a squat. We're working on glutes. We got to do squats. So sometimes problems arise because we're weak or tight in another area. And sometimes for the knees, it's because the muscles here are weak. Sometimes for the glutes, it's because we are not activating abdominal muscles, or there's a back problem or whatever. So with squat, we are compressing the hip joints, strengthening the ankles, and elongating the quads. All right, so if your squat is, you're struggling to get the heels on the floor, you may never get there. That's okay. That's why we have props. So heels can be on the blanket or on a towel. You can turn the feet out at an angle if that's more comfortable. And then just go down as far as you can make it back up. All right, so we're just going to bend the knees, come into our squat. We want a nice straight spine. If you can, bring the elbows in between the knees, palms together. Just take a couple breaths here. And then from here, if it's not comfortable to just sit comfortably on the floor, you can come up and then come and sit. All right. Or if you want to practice a little bit longer, that's fine too. All right. All right. Finally, make your way, feet at the top of the mat. You're bring the hands onto the knees and roll back onto the flat of the back. And then first thing we're going to do here is windshield wipers. So we did it seated. I think it's a little bit more, let's say the word juicy, to do it on the spine. So knees side to side. Also, other options, you can have the knees out wider and do one in and then out. And maybe you're feeling some of the muscles that we've been working with as you're doing this. And if you're not, that's okay. Awesome sauce. All right, so we're going to we're going to do Apanasana, and then we're going to come over on our side. All right, so one-legged Apanasana. One knee comes in, exhale, inhale, foot to the floor. Exhale, other side, knee comes in, inhale, foot to the floor. Excellent. All right, one more time each side. So Apanasana is counter pose, but it's also really good for your digestive system. And what did I say we're going to do next? We're going to come over onto our side. Okay, sorry, got distracted. All right, so we're going to come over onto, doesn't matter which side, whatever's more comfortable. I'm going to have my head up a little bit just so you can hear me better. But you can bend the elbow and rest the head on your arm, on that lower arm, if you like. And we're going to do, first we're going to do a few clamshells, and then I'm going to show you the one that is actually going to work better. So feet are together, knees are together, hips are stacked so we're not leaning forward or back. And then we're just lifting the knee. So the feet stay together and the knee comes up. So just do, I don't know, like 5. And you can use this upper hand on the hip or on the floor to hold you in place. All right, so that's what everybody says is good for that. It's not really what we want to do, but that's okay. So here's what we are going to do. So we're going to actually lift the whole leg up. Doesn't have to be super high, but we're lifting that whole leg up, and then we're going to actually lift the foot up higher. And then bring the foot to level, and then bring that whole leg back down. That's what's going to activate those muscles that we want. So knee up, lift the foot, release the foot, whole leg comes down. Let's do 3 more. Lift the leg, lift the foot, release the foot, release the leg. 2 more, up, foot up, back to neutral, all the way down. And last one, all the way up, foot down, leg down. Nice. All right, so you can just roll over onto your side. I'm going to sit up and switch sides. All right, so feet together, knees together. We'll just do 5 regular clamshells. Feet stay together, lift the knee. 3, 2, last one. Nice. All right. Next, we're going to lift the whole leg up, lift the foot up higher, foot comes down, leg comes down. Again, lift the foot comes back, leg comes down. 2 more, lift, foot comes up, foot comes down, whole leg down. Last one, leg up, lift the foot comes back, leg comes down. Nice. All right, so let's come back onto the spine again. We're going to grab the block, and we're going to do as many bridges as we can get in before class is over. All right, maybe not quite that many, but we're going to do, first round we're going to grab the block, if that's comfortable for you. If it's not, don't worry about it. Still getting yoga benefits, but when we use the block, so we're activating slightly different muscles. All right, first round, we're just going to lift the hips. Arms are down by your side, or my favorite, robot arms. Bend the elbow, fingers point up towards the ceiling. Straighten out the spine a little bit. We're doing some side work, so it might feel a little wonky. Lining up the heels, the knees, and the hip sockets. And here we go. So we're going to inhale, lifting from the hip points. And you may not go up as high because you've got this block to contend with, and that's okay. Exhale, bring it back down. Nice and slow. And then again, push the feet in, lift the hips up. That's our inhale. On the exhale, nice and slow, bring it back down. And one more time, inhale, lift. And exhale, release. Nice. All right, so option 2, ditch the block or keep it in place, and then we're gonna add the arms. Here we go. Push the feet in, inhale, lift the hips, arms up overhead to the floor above you. Exhale, arms down, hips down. And again, inhale, lift, arms up, hips up. Exhale, back down. Nice and slow. Let's do one more like that. Inhale, lift. And exhale, release. Nice. All right. Third round, but not final, I don't think. We're going to add an extra breath. Again, option to ditch the block or keep it where it is, or maybe adjust it. Check the feet again. Make the heels, the knees, and the hip joints lined up. And here we go. So we're going to inhale, arms up overhead, hips up. And then on the exhale, release just the hips. Feel that fabulous stretch in the shoulders. Take your time coming down. Inhale. Exhale, arms down by your sides. Excellent. And again, inhale, lift, arms up, hips up. Exhale, release just the hips. Nice and slow. Take your time. And then we're going to inhale. Exhale, arms down by your sides. Let's do that one last time. Inhale, arms up, hips up. Exhale, release just the hips. Take another inhale. Exhale, arms down by your sides. Excellent. All right. Last round. So we're gonna take the block out because we're moving the legs apart here. All right. So here we go. So option, we're going to leave the arms down by our side. So we're going to inhale, lift the hips up, and then we're going to come up on the toes, and then the knees go out. And then as we exhale, we're going to bring the knees back together, and then very gently bring the hips back down to the floor. And then the heels come back. All right, let's do 2 more of those. Inhale, push the feet into the floor, lift the hips up. Come up on the toes, knees go out. Exhale, knees come in, and hips come down. And finally, release the heels. Excellent. Let's do that one last time. Inhale, lift. The hips come up on the heel, or up on the toes. Knees go out. On the exhale, knees come in. Slowly release the hips. Excellent. And then the heels come down. Awesome sauce. All right. So some counter poses here. So we definitely need a lot of Apanasana. We did a lot of back bends. So option, you can do one leg at a time. You can do both together. I'm going to do wide-legged Apanasana, so the knees are nice and wide, wider than the body, if possible. And on the exhale, knees come in. On the inhale, knees go out. So hands can just rest on the knees, back and forth using the breath. And see if you can notice when the spine feels back to symmetrical. We didn't do a huge amount of twists, but we definitely did a lot of back bends. So if you want to take a break in the Apanasana and do a little side to side, because we did do some sacrum stuff, so it might feel nice to have a little side to side, but then come back to the Apanasana again. And you can switch up which one you're doing, one leg, wide leg, or just regular. And again, this is really good for that counter pose and for digestion. Awesome. All right. Finish up the one you're on and do one or two more. And then we're going to bring feet back down to the mat. And let's finish off with our palm tree pose arms. So option, you can keep the knees bent, feet in the mat, or extend both legs all the way straight out. Arms down by your side. We're going to inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, arms back down by your side. And so this is the counter pose for releasing that upper body. If there's any kind of shoulder issues that you have, you can do snow angel arms, where the arms start down by your side and then slide up along the floor to the crown of the head. On the inhale, exhale, arms back down by your side. You can also do cactus arms, but with that bridge pose, that's a bit of work on the shoulders, so being able to release them feels nice. Excellent. All right. Finish the one you're on and do two more. And then after you finish that, let's do one good morning stretch. So we'll bring the arms up overhead, zip the legs up together and extend the heels away from the body and extend the fingers away from the body. We've got this full body lengthening stretch. And then when you're ready, you can bring the arms back down by your sides. And let's get ready for our final relaxation pose. I'm going to sit up so you can hear me better. If you need a blanket over you as the room cools down a little bit, or if you want to put your legs up on your chair, you're welcome to do that. Whatever you need to get comfortable for the next few moments. We're going to do a full body relaxation, walking up the body, relaxing each part as we go. Starting with the feet. Relax the toes. Relax the tops of the feet, the soles of the feet, and the heels. Release the ankles. Relax the calves and shins. Release the knees and the space behind the knees. Relax the thighs. Let the pelvis be heavy and sink into the earth. Relax the abdomen. Release the rib cage and let go of breath. Let the shoulders be heavy and sink into the earth. Relax the upper arms, elbows, and lower arms. Release the wrists. Relax the hands, fingers, and palms. Relax the throat and the back of the neck. Release the jaw. Smooth the forehead and face. Let any last thoughts seep out the top of the crown of the head. Let the earth's gravity hold you. Let the air around you breathe you. Take the next few moments and just be. Gently coming back into awareness. Wiggle your toes. Wiggle your fingers. If you'd like, you can roll your head side to side. When you're ready, and with an inhale, rolling over onto your right or left side. When you're ready, and again with an inhale, pushing up to a comfortable seated position. And to bring breath back into the body and find us safely on our way. Looks like the sun's coming out. Or teasing us anyway. Let's finish off with sun breath number 3. So that's palms together, elbows together. Inhale, open, exhale, closed. 3 times. Ready? Here we go. Inhale, open. Exhale, closed. And again, inhale, open. Exhale, closed. And one more time. Inhale, open. Exhale, closed. Palms together, hands to the heart, and namaste.
Namaste.
Thanks, gang. Drive safe.